Peace, love, and light coming on here to bring a message. If you find that this message resonates, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm not sure if I'm going to make this video or audio specifically for members or for everyone. I guess I'll decide as time progresses. So I've been inspired to do a video on chakras and chakra healing, energy, various things, and how energy impacts individuals, people as a collective, how energy influences you, mind, body, and spirit. And specifically, the divine has been dealing with me in the areas of chakras, okay? And chakras are proposed energy points that we have within the body where we essentially store energy, okay? So what does that mean? That means that every experience that you've had, it has a frequency associated with it. It has a certain vibration associated with it. And whether that energy or that experience is positive or negative, we store that in our body in the various chakras, okay? And there is such a thing. If it doesn't exist yet, I may have just come up with it. I'm not sure. I do believe that there is chakra memory, that our chakras are basically as storage points, memorize certain experiences as energy. So what does that mean? That each chakra has specific energies associated with them, and they impact us differently. They impact us differently physiologically. They impact us differently mentally. They impact us differently spiritually. And there is so much, speaking of packing, there is so much that we can really unpack when it comes to energy healing and chakras and how energy is stored in the various energy centers that we call chakras. And just, before I actually finish proceeding, I'd like to know if this is something that you are interested in us unpacking together, discussing together. Let me know, leave a comment. Leave a comment specifically. You can definitely thumbs up this video if it is something that you're interested in. And also leave a comment indicating specifically what aspect of, chakras and energy and healing that you'd like to discuss. Whether, whatever it is, there's definitely no limit. So leave a comment. I'm interested in knowing what you're interested in learning about. So, in terms of the chakras, right? So I'm learning that there are 7 chakras, which are 7 energy points that we have in our physiological body. This house that you can say, this is the house, that this is the physical material thing that houses the spirit. And there are 7 points that exist within the body. And it's interesting, 7 is the number for spiritual perfection. And to my understanding or overstanding, each chakra is associated with it's like a as above so below kind of thing. Like you go from 1 to 7, right? You start out with the basics, okay? You start out, it's like as I guess you could say in this case, well, it's as above, so below. And in this case, I'm thinking about it in terms of like as below, so above. Really, it's the same thing. As above, so below, or as below, so above. What does that mean? That means that, how we always say the things that are in the physical manifest themselves in the spiritual. Well, in essence, when I'm thinking about the chakras, you start out in the material, which is it's considered the first chakra, okay? The root chakra. which basically is that housing center. It's that energy point that looks at a lot of the physiological things that are happening in our environment. So a lot of times I'm thinking, and by all means, I'm not going to be able to do justice to, how vast this concept is with just one video. I may have several. I may have, we may develop it into something else. Let me know if you're interested. So the root chakra, which is represented by the color red, and I believe that chakra is located at the base of the spine, if I'm not mistaken. Different documents may say different things. So this chakra is connected to our willpower. It's also connected to the things that are showing up in the physical realm. This chakra specifically is one that I thought was very interesting to me because it helps to connect the dots in terms of like what we see happening in our immediate environments. Like, for example, did you know that the connections that you have with your family, whether or not you have a positive connection with your family, did you know that that can impact your root chakra? And oftentimes, here we are having pains in these areas, and I mean like physical pains, physiological as well as mental and spiritual. And, it's like a lot of us are not able to pinpoint where those things are coming from. And so one of the things that we end up doing is we run to a so-called specialist, which know nothing about us. What they call specialists, that operate in death care as opposed to health care. That do not necessarily take a holistic perspective. Here we are, because we don't know ourselves, we tend to run to these so-called specialists that operate in a death care, system, instead of actually looking for the answers within. And so we start out with the root chakra, okay, which is represented by the color red. And what is the color red? Red represents a lot of different things. Red is connected to fire. Okay, red is connected to that will, that knowing. Okay, so if you can imagine, because the root chakra is connected to what's happening in the physical world, then if what you experience in the physical world tends to be things that facilitate a lot of fear, then you're going to see those things represented. You're going to see those things manifested or show up in the root chakra. A lot of times you tend to see folks like, having like lower back pains and such, which is like that pain in essence is a physiological pain as well as a spiritual pain. Yet we oftentimes don't think about it in the sense as being a spiritual pain. We more so think of it in essence being something that is purely physiological, when there is truly a spiritual basis to it. It's like, and what we'll see also is that when you're one who becomes connected or in tune or in balance with what is happening within, you will more easily see those things, and you will see them a lot faster, a lot quicker than someone who's not in tune. Okay. And, being in tune means that, you're able to look within, that yourself well enough to be able to see, from a bird's eye perspective, right? It's like looking down or looking up, from a bird's eye view. Okay, so continuing with the audio because it was cut off. So yeah, we're looking at ourselves from a bird's eye view. In essence, it's like, if you can imagine looking into a microscope or a telescope, to be able to see something that you typically would not see easily by using an instrument. Like, that's what I think it also means to have a spiritual eye. Like, you have the magnifying glass, you have the telescope that is needed to see something that would not typically be seen. And so a lot of times what we often find is that the distractions exist because they are meant to remove the lens in which we're able to look so that we can detect certain things. Okay. So the root chakra has a lot associated with it. And I wanted to give you just a glimpse of how it can become a lot easier for us to heal ourselves. This is part of what it's about. It's about healing ourselves. Once we know the variables, that are in question, we know what needs to be done, we know how things operate on a physical, mental, and spiritual level, then we're able to take the steps necessary in order to make the changes. All right, 7 chakras. This is only one of them. And everything starts somewhere. As you learn, then you begin to grow and you begin to elevate yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Let me know if this is a subject that is of interest to you. I would definitely be curious to do a lot more of these. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all who have liked, commented, shared, and subscribed. Peace, love, divine light.